Painkiller
I'll
already.
be on Twitter till then.
That's our beginning. Painkiller already. Episode 384 with our guest Christopher Titus. Kyle?
There would have been no
theory
cotton
of jacking
gin.
off.
There would have been no cotton gin at all had Eli Whitney not really needed to get his rocks off. Nice, guys.
So
I'm glad you kind of put the Industrial Revolution all comes down to masturbation.
He was standing in that cotton field jacking off, and he goes, I'd have 10 times as much time to jack off if we could somehow get this goddamn cotton picked up faster. And he figured it out. So
Alexander Graham Bell. He had to call. He goes, I'm masturbating too much. I need to call a woman. I need to come up with a phone.
That was actually for phone sex when his wife was in Philadelphia.
This has been the worst podcast I've ever agreed to
do. And right before this, you said that you got invited on a bestiality fetish podcast, and so we really struck hard.
So I was on Twitter. And I'm always, I don't think any.
Oh.
Care about I go crazy. Like my comedy, I don't edit it, but I make sure my comedy is funny. But on Twitter, I can rant if I want. And this guy, I forget his name even, but he was posting some funny stuff, and it was just about whatever I was talking about. And every once in a while, I'd retweet him or like his stuff. And he said, "Hey, I have a podcast. You want to come on?" I happen to be in Pittsburgh or Philly, and he goes, "I said, yeah, come to the hotel. I'm a nice guy. You've been hounding me for a bit, so all right, we're doing the podcast now." So I said, "All right, yeah, 2:00, we'll do it." Shows up at the hotel with this girl, and he goes, I just want you to know that our podcast is about fetishes and stuff like that. And that was in the hallway of the hotel. I'm like, dude, seriously? I go, like, you didn't, like, that's what you put in line 1 of the email, hey, I've got a fetish podcast. Do you want to be on it? Then you can make a decision. He waited till he had his equipment with him, and we were in the hallway on the way to my hotel room, and I hit the elevator button, and I said, no, guys, thanks, and I sent him away.
Titus, I got a question I've been wondering for a long time. Yeah. All right, so it seems like every time a comic is with another comic, they know each other, right? You drop on Rogan's show, and suddenly, like, you guys have been traveling the same circles for ages. How does the comic social pecking order work? Is it based on, like, how rich the guy is right now, how funny he is to other comics, what kind of success he has, who's hot today, like, how long they've been in the business? Like, how does the social pecking order go amongst comics?
This is the weirdest, most meaningless question I've ever been asked.
I
would say it doesn't matter. Like it's at this point,
did the same thing. Every time we went on vacation, they would have a roll of quarters, which is that $20 a stack, like still in the paper. So they would prep for this. We would go to the hotel, and they'd be like, well, we're going to need rolls of quarters, and they'd usually have one for me and one for my brother, and they'd send us to the arcade, and they would fuck. And that was like how our vacations all started. And at first, I didn't know what the score was. But eventually, it's like, yes, they're going to fuck. And I remember on one vacation in particular, the hotel, classy place, had a vibrating bed. So they're like, you guys are going to have to split one roll of quarters. And we did, yeah. And they kept the other roll for the vibrating bed.
Do you get weird?
The whole roll.
Do you get weird sexual urges around change machines now?
Do you ever wonder do you ever fear, perhaps even, that there's something about you that draws all of this crazy in? Because I've never known anyone who had this much mental illness and this much, in their life.
You could be the opposite of crazy. You could be the south of this magnetic pole, just attracting it.
I would like to thank you for blaming me. I really want to say that. I'm glad someone just went, no, dude, it's fuck. The one thing connected all of it is fucking you, bro. That's it, man. You can stop. So, although I was on the razor's edge of suicide, and I want to thank you for kind of pushing me. I appreciate it.
It's fun. I have these questions written down. I don't know if you can hear me right now. And one of them is, how crazy are you? And the other is, what did you do wrong? So we were on our way there at one point or another.
Wow, maybe I'm the only one that doesn't think it's me. Like, it's weird you guys want to talk about all this, because this is all going in the next show. I just haven't written jokes for it yet. My
Still
sister,
funny.
Yeah, thank you. She shot and killed him on Thanksgiving because he was an abusive guy. The joke I did in my old special was, the guy was half O.J. Simpson and half O.J. Simpson. He was just a bad guy, and she had put the turkey on the table for like 15 minutes late for Thanksgiving. He wasn't happy with that, so what he did was he threw it across the room. So she countered with a boiling pot of potatoes. She just threw this boiling pot of potatoes at him. And the joke I did in my old special was, and if you look it up in the domestic violence desk reference, she was valid. And then he beat the shit out of her. So she went upstairs, got his gun, came down and shot him 3 times. And then my sister told me, it's a true story, man. My sister told me she shot him and he was dying. And my sister goes, I better call the ambulance. And my mom stopped her and said, no, wait. And they waited till he died, and then they called the ambulance. She didn't want him to make it.
So
yeah, that's not even the worst. Do you know that's not even the worst story?
How could that not be the worst? She murdered someone.
My sister is so my sister she tragically took her own life. She was raised by mom. I don't think the kid had a chance. So she told me this story after all this happened. We'd seen each other for a while. She was living in Florida, and we would see each other on holidays and stuff. And when she was living with that dude, I think Idaho, whatever, and she was living with that. My mom was married to this guy, and my mom had got my sister a dog, and the guy didn't. He'd get that fucking dog out of here, he said. And so all of a sudden, my sister came home, and my mom said, "Oh, we had to give the dog away," and she was crying and blah blah blah. 2 days later, the dog shows up on the porch, and its mom it was like sliced up. Mom thought she had killed it and buried it, and it had survived. Yeah, so when you guys think that I had a fucked up life, my sister had a way more fucked up life. My sister
she took the dog, stabbed it, and sliced it up with a knife, and thought it was dead, and then it unburied itself and stumbled to the door.
Yeah, it's like Pet Sematary Part 4. And so
I guess very early part of that. And my dad was very adamant against it. Where like if I did like soccer as a kid at like 6 and our team sucked because I fucking hated soccer, and at the end they bring out that giant pallet of shitty little trophies and like, all right, everybody gets one. Like my dad would like make sure I knew on the way home, like, hey, they gave you a trophy, you didn't earn that. And I was like, Dad, I'm 5. Like, yeah, I know, and it drilled it in.
Dude, I did the same. Let me tell you a story. I did this to my daughter. She was playing, and I think I talked about it in Evolution. Their team was fucking horrible. They were fucking, like, one kid would stand by the goalie, and he would just spin and flap his arms and like pick shit off the ground. He'd never even looked at the ball. And at the end, we show up. They wanted to go to the trophy ceremony. They called us and they go, "You have to be at the trophy ceremony." And I actually thought this. Good. They're gonna make all the kids show up so we can watch the kids get trophies. Good. This is gonna be great. They're gonna make all the other kids feel a little shitty about themselves so they work harder next year. Good. I'm happy. We go there and everybody gets a trophy, and we get in the car and my daughter's in the back seat, and I go, "What do you think?" And she goes, "Why did we get a trophy?" And I go, "What do you think?" She goes, "I don't know." She goes, "We didn't win any games. They won 2 games because the other team forfeited. They won 2 games because the other team didn't have enough players to play." Oh. And I go, I go, "Do you think you earned that?" She goes, "No, I don't think we did." So my daughter was pretty cool, and we had talks about that. 2 years later, she played on this soccer team where they made the finals of this like all California tournament, and they came in second. And I played like that day they had to pay. I get a little teared up because I remember how hard she worked. They played 4 games that day at this final day of the tournament, and they walked home with this medal. And we get in the car, and I go, "What do you think about this one?" And she goes, "We earned this one." And she remembered from years ago when she was a little kid. So, and I think all we've done is damage children. That's all we've done is damage children. So now everybody thinks, and by the way, and parents, my dad didn't give a shit about my opinion. Every parent now thinks his kid, no, what did you want, Thomas? What did you want? No, let Thomas speak. He's got an opinion. Fuck it, Thomas. He's 6. He doesn't get an opinion. Eat your sandwich, shut up, and be quiet.
I have a totally different take.
I know Ingalls Wilder rules at my house at that age, where it was like if you went upstairs, you let the parents talk and you speak when spoken to now. Like that was the way it was. You get your soda and you leave. Like they don't give a fuck what you think.
We had a
hey,
voting
what do you think about
system
gun control
in my family? My father got 5 votes, my mother got 2, and my brother and I each got 1. That was how voting fucking worked in my household.
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
No.
Wait. Your dad got 5.
5.
Your mom only got 2.
Mm-hmm. And then the kids each got 2.
As Dad said, 1 for each ovary because that's all she good for. and your brother each got 1 vote. Is that correct?
That's right. So collectively,
and what kind of family quandaries would be solved using this this sort of United Nations of
you
insanity?
never knew what would be solved. In fairness, 80% of the time it was for picking the movie, but it could be applied to anything.
You were raised with Banana Republic rules.
Yeah.
That could just shut the shit down. Hey, did you guys got all? Hey, Dad, I've added up the votes. Even if we all vote one thing, you still have one more vote. Fucking exactly. No, shut up. That was my dad too. You didn't get a vote. No one cared what the kids thought, and because of that, you had this sense of earning something. You had to, and I think we've lost that. But look at Zuckerberg, though. Zuckerberg, I mean, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe being totally confident in life and having no insecurities, anxiety, and knowing you're a loser like I did, maybe that's a good thing. I mean, we have a lot of
that
people.
That motherfucker is so autistic. He doesn't understand insecurity. He just tries to sit there and look as human as possible on his 4-inch pad. Did everybody see that picture he did in front of Congress? That was humiliating.
Billionaire with a booster seat. Billionaire with a booster seat. I couldn't dude, you're already a billionaire. And you basically took your penis size from like 1,000 inches to 1. Like, what are you doing, bro?
You know what I would have done? I would have vacuum packed 4 inches of fucking $100 bills and sat on that. Hey, this is what I'm tipping the valet after this. Fuck off. I own all these bitches.
That booster seat was custom made for that chair. Look at the photo again. It's got cutouts for the arms. He didn't bring a booster seat. They supplied him with a table and a chair, and the chair without the booster seat was too short. It would have come up to his neck. So he sat on it. Yeah,
you stand
I hear
like
you.
a
I hear
man.
you. The optics
You're like,
are bad,
no,
and he should have known because he lives a place in public life. But
I love the idea, though.
I wonder
square thing, and then it has like a naked, like half naked Vegas girl come in and just set it down on the seat and pat it, and then she sits him down and then does his nails while he talks to Congress. That's what a billionaire does, motherfucker. Yeah. That's what you don't.
He
don't
just
sit there like
on her lap. Yeah,
exactly.
Really, I'm just sort of turning my way in, and I instead of leveling out about 4 feet over where I thought I would, I hit the ground. And, I didn't hide anything from Jackie or anything. I called her and told her. I was like, honey, I think I'm going to need a new frame and some new swing arms. And it happened to be on our wedding anniversary. And she's
like, how's your frame and your swing arms?
I led with that. I'm like, I'm fine, but, I broke this and that. And she's like, all right, well, happy anniversary. I know what you're getting. And
Wait a minute. Your anniversary is shockingly close to Colin's birthday. Do you think there's any correlation there?
Well, I mean,
I think that.
No, that's not how it works. Are you thinking that gestation is a year?
For a moment, it appears that I was thinking that. I might be retarded.
Oh, we're all a little retarded.
Like you have, the whale's gestation period is 12 months.
I'm sure that's where you were headed. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, how stupid am I?
Not as dumb as the chicken guy. So
That's fair.
That's okay. I feel redeemed.
Hey, watch the Turk Burger.
But the bicycle wasn't invented until like the late 1800s, and it was like that big silly one with like the big front wheel.
Is it called a Pennywise or a penny?
Oh, a penny whistle,
Furling?
a penny. Penny farthing.
Is that right?
I think that's it.
FARTHING, penny farthing. I think that was one of the silly. Who invented that? Where he had a good enough idea to come up with that, and he's like, and the front wheel will be enormous.
Like, but he didn't need a chain drive.
Well, then you'll ride very high. You'll need friends to get up. But
I mentioned this to Kyle probably 200 episodes ago. I was like, I'm not sure if I'm good at sex or just good at fucking Jackie, right? It might be that if I went to someone else, she'd be like, really? Get your finger out of there.
Get your finger out of there.
Just making shit up. I don't
What's
know.
your tongue doing down there? But you're married, so you only need to fuck Jackie.
Yeah,
so that's all you need
but
to care
I
about.
have wondered, like, I might be awful at this. I could be on, what's the island that doesn't evolve? Galapagos,
right?
Galapagos. Yeah, I could be on that island thinking that I'm some sort of alpha predator, right? And then I head over to Australia and I see where I really am.
Yeah, it's like if you're on Madagascar and you're one of those like shitty predators where you're like, I'm the biggest monkey in the jungle, and then they like bring you to a zoo and you're like, oh, I'm the shittiest monkey in the jungle. Like all of these gorillas are way bigger. I thought I was the Grand Poobah of Madagascar. Turns out I was just on a shitty dwarf island.
I don't think that kid is 8. I have a theory.
I was thinking that looked like a young 8.
I think
right?
that maybe she's been breastfeeding for 8 years across a couple kids. That kid might be 4 or 5.
I still think 5's probably ridiculous, right? Like I don't.
Oh yeah, most people
You're-
would, but
You're in kindergarten, still sucking tit.
well, I'm 45.
Yeah, that's true. But like,
You don't want to be losing an arm and a leg on your sex cult, all right?
It's
Yeah,
the
of course.
Kyle
Yeah.
system. First
I'm
you
following you.
capture them, then someone help me. I ended up this quick, and then you yell at them.
yell at him.
You capture
Hey, you will fuck me.
capture the youth and then lovingly exploit them.
Ah, thank you, Kyle.
And then
well
you
done.
love them. Yeah, capture the youth and lovingly exploit them.
Yeah. This is pretty fucked. This is pretty fucked. But if you're a lady, you can be the aggressor in these situations and sort of just go up to whoever you want. At this point, like you don't need to play it all shy and coy, right? You're wearing nothing but a robe.
Oh, tee.
If you're the girl who's wearing nothing but a robe in the back room
The
of
Virgin Act
swingers,
is over.
yeah, right.
It's like those posts on Reddit you see where they're like, "Tee, I'm a little shy. Here's my shaved asshole." It's like, it's like your face is in the mirror, you whore. Like you're not shy. But anyway, go ahead, Kyle. Sorry.
I think that's the width and the breadth
How
of
much
my.
did your
Well,
friend
what is-
pay
what's
to
the-
get in this place? Like, is it like $100 or $1,000 or?
I think it was like $150 for a couple to get in.
Oh,
Did they
That's it.
provide like based on what your friend said, like snacks and drinks and things? Because it would be a
Absolutely.
ripoff.
You know,
Yeah, I had a fan when we were at the Tilted Kilt in Chicago.
Uh-huh.
A fan and his wife were trying to get me to go back with them, and I think the deal was that I was gonna give it to the wife while maybe he watched. And I was drunk enough that I was like, maybe so. But then, if you remember how that night continued onward,
Yeah, you
I
got even
kept
drunker
getting-
than that.
I got so drunk that like sex was not going to happen.
You would
Pissing
have been
into
like sitting in the corner yourself, like, honestly, guys, I have no interest. You guys just do it.
I want
Fine, you go.
Can you
I-
call
I
me an
watched.
Uber? Like, I gotta go home. Like,
wait, my friend Woody might be available. No, he says no. He says no. No.
stop! You're just mashing it now. So
She's
like,
watching it.
If those
So
M's are
attached.
next to each other, then those guys are next to each other, and that might not be what you're looking for.
Yeah,
Although I'll say, what am I going to say?
not everything's your
everything you
favorite
do
thing.
is going to be your favorite thing that you do.
Yeah.
if I were with a girl and she was like, "Fuck this other guy," not everything you want to do is going to be your favorite. I'm going to be like, "You're right. This is over. You enjoy that." Like, I'm not fucking.
Really?
I'm
So
just-
there's no way we could put the MMF together to coordinate those Legos where you'd be down, considering the chick is like a 10. It's Terry Hatcher in her prime, and I only
Wait, no,
bring
you
her up.
said MMF means
I
that
did
you
say
have
that.
to enter a man.
No.
and then-
You could
or
be
entered
the
by the
enterer.
man.
Yeah, I mean, what if she's like, look, I really want you, Taylor, but it turns me off to watch you get blown by him too.
Yes, exactly. That's where I was going. He is going to suck your dick a little.
A little.
Or at the very. All right. So here's the scenario. Here's the
I'm
exact
comfortable
scenario.
with this.
You're fucking her doggy style.
Where's
He's
Titus for this?
Oh, he was not going to be down for this.
No.
So
Look like
I
a
don't know. Sometime after I passed 40, I stopped issuing judgments on what's cool. Now I ask. Hey guys, like even right now, I need I want shoes for the summer, right? And I feel pretty good with like my Sperry or Vans or whatever, like, you know, for when they fit. But I want a low top hiking shoe, and I'm like, are these even cool? And worst of all, oh my god, let me set myself up for this one. I'll be like, ooh, now this one catches my women's section. Fuck. Foiled again. Like, so
Excuse me. Do you have any shoes that look good with large cargo shorts?
you're like
No,
Michael.
sir. No, we don't. Nothing looks good on a man.
I prefer to pay more for services sometimes, just so that people who can't pay for that aren't there, right? Like if I would have younger when I rented apartments and stuff, I learned that you don't necessarily look at how nice the insides are for your dollar. Sometimes you want to pay another 150 or something just to keep the assholes from blaring their music away.
Yeah,
you don't.
That's a good
you,
point.
I
I don't think that's
noticed
elitist. I think that's smart.
I noticed that viewpoint does not roll on over to motels.
Temporary, but
As long as
like,
it's got an ice machine for the nice crack dealer to stand by.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I didn't stick to it there. You know what I look down on a lot?
Hand in hand.
People who think people who think they're good at things that aren't actually good at things. Wings, you're not charismatic. I know you think you are. You think people like you. People don't fucking like you. Nobody likes you.
You know, a group of
is
people that I
elitist.
am entirely better than also, and all of us are better than, people who in public areas and on public transport will listen to loud music on headphones that are not seated on their head. They're rested on their neck, and they'll continue to listen to music. Now, this is a class of people, exactly like what Kyle's doing. This is a class of people that is broadcasting their lack of care and consideration to everyone else around them. They're so narcissistic or so fucking stupid that they don't realize that no one else cares about the hit single that they're listening to right now. You're rude. You're a cunt. Nobody's impressed by your headphones because fucking spoiler alert, people who aren't poor aren't impressed by headphones that you wear around. Because if I wanted to buy 500 pairs of Beats, I could. I don't give a shit. Like, it's not impressive. You look like an asshole.
That would be like 10,000, but I guess you could if you had to. Yeah.
If I wanted to waste a lot of money, I could buy a bunch of those. But like, it's so. This isn't even elitist as much as it is just fucking rude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't watch a video that was sent to me. If someone sent me a Snapchat and I'm on public transport and I don't have headphones, I turn my media volume all the way down before I play it, because I'm not a rude person who plays things for the cab to hear. It doesn't be polite. Don't be a cunt. Nobody's impressed by you listening to something loud on your tinny shit headphones that you were conned into buying for 3 times the price that a little Malaysian hand threw it together for.
But
you
there's
retard.
a thing. You're okay. First of all, Taylor's right, but a weird thing happens in a lot of people's heads, even mine, sometimes slightly before I think it through, which is when you play your music loud, your music is shitty, and I don't want to hear it. Also, where I am, I only hear the bass part, and it doesn't sound good. When I play my music loud, you are probably admiring my taste in music, because this is a great song. Of course you're not. Of course you're not.
Isn't the golem a Jewish thing?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. There's an X-Files episode you might enjoy, Taylor, because I know you hate the Jews, where there's this.
You're thinking of Lefty.
Ah.
He replaced Lefty. Jesus, Kyle.
Yeah.
No, I replaced Wings.
I don't think
apparently.
so. Oh.
You know, I know I replaced Lefty.
It's not what Wing says.
I know.
Well, I'm gonna trust him on this one.
That's true. He has seniority.
He has big brain. Big brain.
Actually,
big brain.
no. As far as PKA goes, I have seniority at this point because I've been on way more episodes.
Yeah. And if you count PKN, I think it's even more extreme.
Oh, I wasn't even counting PKN, but you're right. Yeah.
And I'm gonna watch that later.
Well, enjoy. I will too.
PKA 384.